many decades, schools have been trying to get sexual education into their classrooms, and many have already added it to their curriculum. Therefore, controversies are abundant when it comes down to such an important subject. Many teens are already sexually active without knowing about what's the risk and the precautions that they can take. And many have already been doing it without any protection, and they're putting their lives at risk. Sex education in high schools is extremely controversial among students and parents. However, I believe that it is important to have sexual education into classrooms for many reasons. Giving them permission, the parents think that by teaching them about sex is giving them permission to go out and do it, but I don't think that's the reason. Based on the study performed by the Guttmacher Institute, the percentage of sexually active teens in the U.S. is higher than in any other developed nations. That being that by the 9th grade, 33% of the teens have already had sex. Sex ed I think it's important to have it at such an early age due to that study, and because I think that it will decrease the amount of diseases that are transferred through sex. And according to the Heritage Foundation, in 1997, 48% of American teens of high school age were or had been sexually active. And parents disagree that they shouldn't teach that at school because they think that it'll be like giving them information. But many parents don't talk to their kids about sex. And stated in the article, Let's Talk About Sex, 4 in 10 students that are already sexually experienced, teen girls, say that their parents do not know about their sexual activity since they don't discuss the subject at home. Parents don't want to give too much information to their kids, or maybe they just don't want to talk to them because they kind of feel embarrassed telling their kids about that. And so I think that by having a teacher do that at school, they're more they're trained professionals, and they know what kind of things to tell the kids. And as stated in the article, talk to your kids about sex. Getting advice from a pediatrician, family physician, or trained professionals may be very helpful. And many people argue that by educating students about sex, they're telling them it's okay, but let's keep in mind that that is not what sex ed is all about. There's also abstinence, which can be taught in the classroom, and many don't think that kids won't follow the abstinence. But there's an abstinence-based program that can be offered to schools, and that's also very helpful because it tells them about the importance and the values. So I believe that teaching students about sex at an early age will prevent them from having unwanted pregnancies. So the bottom line is that many teens won't ask for permission for the parents or teachers in order to have sex. I think they should be educated in that subject.
All right, Jimena, what did you think?
I thought that the introduction was a little shaky. I heard a lot of ums, and I heard her opinion, but I noticed that when she explained it, every time her tone of voice would change. She sounded like she was kind of iffy. She would do this thing where she would sound like that. So I don't know if it was because she was iffy on letting us know her opinion, but I think she should have kept her tone of voice a little bit stronger. And I also noticed that she looked down at her notes. I think it's because she was so nervous about speaking, and it got a little better at the end. She started to just go with the flow, but I saw her moving around a lot. And I think that she had a lot of good source citations. She had statistics, and she had some percentages. I think she should have gotten those a little bit more up to date, though, because I heard one of the years was 1990 something. So I think a little bit more current statistics would have been better for that.
All right. Right, you tell us what the topic area is, and I think it could be a little bit more interesting. I mean, let's face it, you're talking about sex. You'd think people would be ready to listen on a subject like that, and I think you need to, make it a little bit more intriguing. It sounds like an oral report more than anything else at the beginning, and instead of a speech where you really have a point of view. I think we need a little bit more background information on the problem that you're talking about. You've got good information that says kids are having sex, that there are diseases and pregnancies and those kinds of things, and the parents don't know that much about what the heck is going on. What we need is some information about the lack of access to sexual education in schools, because I'm not sure that there is this lack of access, or, for instance, whether or not the programs are working, and that's one of the things that you suggest it would make a difference. And I'm wondering, well, on any of those statistics, for instance, that you mentioned, about 43% of the kids in high school are sexually active or have been sexually active. Did that compare kids who went to schools where sex education was part of the curriculum and versus those who went to schools where they didn't have that as part of the curriculum? Was there a difference between the amount of activity that was going on there as a consequence of that, or the number of kids who had I swear it changes all the time. Once upon a time they were venereal diseases, and then they were STDs, and now I understand that we don't call them diseases, they're STIs. So, sexually transmitted infections. So I guess we got to find the right word for it. Anyway, that all those kids are getting cooties from each other, and that these programs make a difference. That's what we need some more information on. It's organized adequately. It's not that hard to follow. I understand some of the things about the presentation that Jimena's talking about. Also, I think you need to be a little bit more assertive in your voice and confident when you're speaking. The visual thing also needs to go along with that. In other words, you need to talk to us. You're giving me really good eye contact right now. Boy, if I got eye contact like that when you were giving your speech, I'd feel like she's really talking to me. She knows what she's talking about, and she's laying down the law to me. As it is, you seem a little bit more timid while you're speaking, a little bit uncertain, and I think that undermines some credibility. It's a short speech, so there's a lot more that you could do with it. All right, thank you.